I'm Doug Doyle with the Art of the Story. The African-American photographer Chester Higgins has made close to 50 trips to Africa since the early 1970s. For much of that time, he worked at the New York Times, but Higgins hasn't stopped documenting the continent's history and culture. He recently received a Lifetime Achievement Award from a group of veteran New York City journalists. WBGO's John Kalish was there.
Chester Higgins worked at the New York Times 39 years, and for most of that time he spent his vacations in Africa, visiting the people he refers to as my cousins.
Being in Africa, I've discovered, is quite a relief for me because I was in the majority, that I didn't have to worry about people looking at my color and as a target.
Higgins' commitment to keep returning to the continent is motivated by a desire to foster a deeper connection among African Americans, says Lonnie Bunch, secretary of the Smithsonian Institution.
He's not capturing an Africa that's flawed. He's not capturing an Africa that is broken. He's capturing an Africa that has a spirit of hope, of possibility, that in some ways he believes will shape the African American experience as well.
Higgins says his latest book, The Sacred Nile, has been 50 years in the making and bears the fruit of 20 trips to Egypt alone. The book documents pyramids, rock-hewn churches, tombs, and other religious monuments along the River Nile. Former New York Times reporter Joseph Berger worked with Higgins for 30 years.
You were working with someone who viewed his job as a calling and the taking of photographs as a sacrament. Chester has always been a man on a spiritual mission.
After observing something he refers to as the Spirit, Higgins became a minister and was preaching at churches in Alabama before his 10th birthday. He believes that years later, the Spirit was responsible for connecting him to Arthur Rothstein, one of the giants of American photography. Rothstein was working at Look magazine when he met Higgins in the summer of 1969.
He couldn't resist Chester when he met him.
Annie Segan is Arthur Rothstein's daughter.
He was very moved by this kid who wanted something so badly.
What Higgins wanted so badly was to master the craft of photography. Rothstein was so taken with Higgins that he gave him 35mm film and critiqued his work. His next book will feature photos of prominent African Americans, part of what he refers to as his lifelong assignment.
I just lumbered along, following the Spirit, following my interests, and that's what I still do.
I'm John Kalish.
For much more on Chester Higgins, you can go to WBGO.org/journal. I'm Doug Doyle, WBGO News.